that's exactly where I want to. That's that is where I want to see. What is this thing? And let's go. I got a bunch of random. Hold on a second. Dictionary. I don't know. I just brought up a random dictionary, but I'm pretty sure we're live right now. Let me double check. Yeah, we're live. But yeah, so whenever I go to replay this back, that's where we're bringing off it. Now, obviously, all right, here we go. That's a great story. That's where I want. That's why I wanted to bring it in. We'll wait for people to fill in, but until then, everybody, this is
great
Jesse
story.
James.
That's why I want.
I hear you in the background. I think. What was that?
I was pulling it up so I can see comments.
Okay.
You're good, man.
This is Jesse James from Black Fork Lawn and Snow. This is a live version of what's my podcast called? Life and Lawn Care podcast. If I'm drawing a blank, this is what happens when you do live shows. This is an impromptu show, just kind of hanging out with the Juggernaut. Right before I cut you off, we were kind of talking a little politics behind the scene that we're not going to get into right here yet. But you had an encounter a couple weeks ago with a dude with a machete. Well, a couple weeks ago when I seen the video, don't know how long you've been holding that content, but what's the story with the dude with the machete for everybody out there if they don't know?
All right, so this is actually a little over a year now that I've been dealing with this guy. I picked up the lawn next door to him, which is like the most beautiful fescue yard that I have. We don't have a whole lot of fescue here. So I kind of hate the idea of dropping the property,
right? Because
it gives me such good pictures for advertising. But anyways, this dude totally freaked out. From what the police told me is that they thought he thought I was part of a conspiracy of people harassing him and his dogs, and said I've been doing it for several years. When I just it was like the first time cutting this guy's yard, so. You know, when I was talking to the cops and explained to them and told them what was going on, they're like, yeah, this guy's nuts. Well, the second time was actually the YouTube video where he saw. And, I caught a little bit of his craziness on camera. But, I mean, now we're just kind of in and out. We're trying to mow it before he really pays attention to us. Like, I noticed, one, he doesn't have a job, but I think he sleeps until about noon. So whenever we show up before noon, we don't get a whole lot of we don't get a whole lot of mess from him.
And you kind of glanced over. He came out after you with a machete. Like the dude said that from the video I seen, the dude came out and was like, "Hey, fat boy, quit messing with my dogs. I know you're in a conspiracy after me with a machete." He's coming after you with a 3-foot butter knife, ready to slice you up, and you were just like, no, dude, no. So let's tell us what's going on. You're mowing, you're running around, you're standing on your sulky. How's that? Play that through your mind real quick.
All right. So I reacted completely different the first time compared to the second time. Because the second time I already knew he was crazy. I knew eventually he was going to pop off again. But the first time he caught me off guard, and I'm blowing off the pool deck, right, in the back patio. And it kind of takes a minute over there. I'm blowing it off, and he's walking over and pointing at me, and I'm like, "What the fuck is this guy's deal?" And then he starts chopping on these tree limbs, right? Because the fence line on his side is just grown up with like privet bush and nonsense, and like it's so bad right now that I'm worried this guy's going to come up and just shoot me or something while I'm mowing. So we are really thinking about dropping this property right now. Because you never know, man. You can go get a gun pretty easy nowadays.
Yeah.
So, or whatever. I mean, he could do anything. He could hit me with some blunt object from across the fence. Anyways, the first time, the fence was a little more clear then. I mean, partly because he was chopping limbs down while he was doing it, but he came out and started cussing at me. "Hey, fat boy, I'm going to kill you. You're messing with me." And I'm like, what is wrong with this dude? And I didn't really hear him. So I pull out my headphones. So I'm jamming out to music or something. And I'm like, "Yeah, what's up?" And that's when I started catching on to what he was saying. So I didn't take it well. The first time he's like, "I'm going to kill you." So I started lifting up my shirt. "Let's go." Come on over that fence. Watch me beat your ass. And so I didn't handle my composure well. And my client was inside. He called me later and was like, you okay? Did you get attacked by bees out there or something?
Right.
Um, and that was before the cops showed up. So he called me when it was kind of popping off, but not really popping off. Cool client, though. He fully supports me. He's actually turned the camera that direction. So hopefully we'll catch something if he
His
acts
own
stupid.
security camera.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he knows his neighbor's acting weird. But the next time I try to handle it more professional. I mean, I don't know about you, but when I was younger, if somebody popped off to me, I'd pop off right back.
Right.
You want to act stupid with me? We're going to act stupid. We're going to get this done. So I've been shifting out of that mentality for years, but still, it's a demon that comes out. I'll act stupid.
We're
Whatever.
human.
If you want to fire me up, I'll act dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think it's kind of fight or flight too. It's easy to get crazy. But the second time, I was pretty calm about it. I had the camera out. Well, he came around the corner with the machete. I didn't get that on camera, but then I went to mow the backyard and I set up the cameras because I knew he was going to act crazy. I only had one camera at the time, and I thought, maybe they couldn't hear the audio, so I picked it up.
Gotta get that footage.
Yeah, I was like, this is going to be good. Now, dude, every time I go to mow it, though, I'm nervous and I've got anxiety. I am carrying. He doesn't know it, and I hope he doesn't watch a podcast. But it's just a pellet gun. I went to the pawn shop one day, and I was, I got this. I got that microphone, and when I was there, I was like, "Oh, there's a BB gun there." I was like, "How much for the BB gun?" So we got two of them for $10. Hey. Like, well, that's an easy solution. And so I carry a BB gun on me, which sounds retarded, right? But he doesn't know what it is. Exactly. At a distance, it looks like a gun. Hey. And that's all that matters. I've got pepper spray in my pocket when we mow, and I'll have a machete hanging on me most of the time as well. So whichever
that's
way,
one thing I am going to pick up is a machete. I need one of those.
Well, I've got like 3 or 4 of them, man. I bought some to do not necessarily reviews, but like, hey, check this out. I thought that might be kind of cool. I haven't done any of those videos. And I feel like all I do is mow videos, and they get kind of boring editing.
See, that's what I was going to ask you. Yeah, how like you do the mowing videos? Like, you've been in this game for a long time, and I'm still wet behind the ears when it comes to the business and YouTube. So it's like, to have your channel now, you're over that 1,000 subscriber mark, and if anybody out there makes YouTube channels, like, what it is. Like, we all shoot for that 1K, and you hit that. So now you're at 2,000 now, right? Somewhere around there.
Yeah, I love all the support. I've got really good followers, and a lot of people that have comment and they're legit followers, and they'll message me and stuff, and that's cool. But as far as like keeping track of the subscriber count, it's just like revenue on my business. Right. It's not going to be enough. I'll just pump that up. You
making your millions?
It feels good to see it go up. Well, I don't know about that. I mean, lawn care is kind of a slow grind, and even the guys that have popped off, like Brian's Lawn Maintenance and stuff, a lot of those guys had made videos for years before the channel took off. But
true. He just had his 100,000. That's a lot. Congratulations to Brian out there, man.
That is awesome. Yeah, Brian's a good dude too. I was kind of
I texted him the other day. I was like, hey, everybody who went to the Novi event last year, I said, hey, I want to be heads up in advance. And he texts me back. He's like, yeah, probably going to be about a 72-hour heads up. I'm like, I'm holding your feet to a fire, because you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Because I don't want to miss out. I had a lot of fun. And if anybody don't know, me and you bumped up last year. Like, you were the baby spoon to me. You cuddled up with me. We slept in the same
spoon, dog. You know how it works.
We cuddled up. Hey, in the story, what's happening? Comment land, Ray, Acme, Mr. Nicely. Hey, but last year, we were talking back and forth. You called me out of the blue, and you seen that I was like just burnt out, spinning my wheels, and you were just telling me a little bit better ways about to do business and how to handle myself. And I was like, well, I'm going to this event in Michigan. You're like, all right, cool, bet I'll be there too. You're like, you coming up Friday night? Is that, yeah, you coming up Friday night? I was like, nah, I'll be up there Saturday, because I ain't got a room. I ain't got money for a room. And it is what it is. It's expensive. And you were like, well, I already got a room. You can sleep with me all cuddled up. And I was like, all right, bet I'll be up there. So
twist of words.
I
He'd
do
sleep on the
appreciate
floor.
that. Right. You did a lot of driving for anybody who don't know that. How many miles did you put on your car, and what was the story behind that whole past 3 weeks of that October, November era?
Okay. Well, I do want to say that we've been in business since 2013.
Mhm.
I've watched the GIE on YouTube every year, people going, and I was always excited, always wanted to go, and then was always extremely bummed out that I wasn't able to go. So if you are experiencing that or you have experienced it, it's normal. But yeah, I finally got to go to the GIE. Adam Devine, actually, he bought hotel tickets, and basically we worked out a deal, and I said, look, I'll drive you up there. You pay for the hotel, I'll pay for all the gas and the drive and everything. And so I mean that was cool.
That ain't
Between
no
the
little down the
GIE,
street drive, though. You're coming from Tulsa. If anybody doesn't know his YouTube,
yeah.
channel, he's come from Tulsa.
Well, I went from Tulsa up to Wichita, so I took a lateral move, like 4-5 hours out of the way, and hung out with him for a while at his house, checked out his stuff, and then we took off. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah,
Give free mow jobs. Actually, I did a free lawn job with my dad when he was down here last. That job's going to be coming up, and not only was it a free lawn, it was the tallest lawn in my neighborhood. I've been keeping an eye on it all year, and I knew it'd make for a good YouTube video.
There you go.
So,
You gotta be thinking, and you give a great mow job. I know that for sure. You you top it off whenever you use my baby spoon. Now we're just up here having a good time. Y'all know how it is. I just wanted to anybody who doesn't know your channel. You just did a podcast. Who'd you say it was with? Forever Self-Employed, didn't you? How'd that go?
Yeah, that went good. It was like a collaboration video on his channel.
I try to watch.
So I think dude, he's got a cool channel. He's a cool dude. I like Justin. And I think we're going to be doing another video down the road. He was wanting to wait until I did some, like disaster cuts, like the one I released today. So, the stupid tall lawns.
Dude, I got one of them lawns coming up today. Like I called him and I sent him a Marco Polo. Anybody don't know what Marco Polo is? I'm gonna give them a free shout out, as I love Marco Polo. You turned me on to it. It's video text messaging. It's awesome. They need to sponsor this channel, but if they don't, it's all good. But I sent you a Marco Polo, just me complaining because like I have this job coming up that I bid it for. I'll just be straight up. Well, I bid it for $525. And it's one of them jobs where it's like the grass has been cut, but it's about a half acre, quarter acre lot. Maybe it's a smaller lot, but it's so overgrown. They got a koi fish pond. It's just one of them jobs. It's like, that's $1,000 all day long. You missed something. It's going to take you longer to do X, Y, and Z than what you think. So I sent him a video back and was like, I'm an idiot. I just told this guy I would do it for half the price for no reason. I don't know. I'm sure you've been there before. Can you talk about any of your experience where you're like in business? You see a lot of what I'm doing, but we didn't get to capture a lot when you was coming up. What's some of the things that you've done? You're like, man, I know I could have got more out of this job, or I know I should have done X, Y, or Z.
Well, I mean, if you want to talk about underpricing cleanup jobs, that's about my first 4 or 5 years in the business. Right. I mean, I didn't have a ton of lawns that were weekly. Like I was doing a lot of biweekly yards, so all the biweeklies felt like cleanups. But the actual cleanups that I was doing, that was my way of sustaining. To make ends meet, I would take on the crazy oddball jobs, and it's really whatever you got to take on to pay the bills. And I was completely okay with that. I definitely underpriced them. A lot of the cleanups now that I would charge, anywhere from $500 to say $1,500 would be done for like, $150, $200. And sometimes I didn't even get paid. So I did a lot of free cleanups for sure.
Right. I've done that too. And I'm still kind of getting myself out of it. But that's what's kind of good about this medium, to where I can rely on Ray, or I call Ben or you, or I can call a number of guys that, like, just because I didn't have like a technical, like someone in my life as, like a father figure there teaching me this stuff, I can rely on other people who's been there before. But you do a lot of, at least this is what I'm noticing, you do a lot of the man hour rate. Like you book a lot of
Yeah.
your work. See, I'm kind of like, I get kind of scared of that. I want you to kind of talk on this for a couple minutes and how you got into it, why you do a lot of the more man hour work and the benefits of it. Because I'm the kind of guy that thinks, well, it scares me because I think, well, if I get it done faster, I'm not going to make that money. I don't really want to put an hour on it. It just seems like I would just rather bid it by the job, which makes me feel like not professional. Maybe not like I should. I feel like it's a more professional way of doing everything by the man hour. I'm learning my numbers right now, but it takes time because this is still technically my first year, so it's kind of hard to know your numbers your first year when you ain't done nothing yet. So it's kind of I got a list of how long everything takes me. So when you moved to a man hour rate, what was that like, that transition, and what do you think of that? Like, cause you're heavy into it now. You do everything by man hour, don't you?
Well, pretty much. Our mowing, we go off of lot square footage. So we get, it's basically the same thing though. It's like an average man hour rate for that. So we know how long everything's going to take average through the year. So in the spring, it'll take longer. In the summer, it goes quicker, you know. But even then, sometimes it takes longer. But first off, there's no wrong or right way to really charge unless you're underbidding. Then it's definitely wrong. If you're not making money, it sucks. So, you know, there's a good argument on both sides of it. One is if you you know, just give a solid bid and you have the confidence to charge a really good price, and you can articulate and clarify yourself with the customer and let them know what they're getting, and you can sell at that higher price, then you know you can make some really good money, and probably more than you would make at a man hour rate.
Right.
But it's still iffy. Sometimes the job might take longer, or expectations from the client may be higher than what you had anticipated yourself. So, you know, like the little details. So unless you're like putting it in a contract and you're finally saying, you know, we're going to cut all the trees under this size and we're going to, you know, do this, 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 and this. Well, you might open a can of worms when you get onto a job and they want a lot more done, right? So bidding by the hourly rate is like a safety net. And one of the things that I noticed, and I've got a buddy in town too that said, hey, I didn't know there was money in leaves really until I started using the hourly rate, like you said. But the thing is, when you do the hourly rate, you're always making what you need to cover all your business expenses. And the other thing is, you know, the hourly rate, a lot of stuff goes in and it's encapsulated into that amount. So your drive time should be built into that. For me, my dump fees for like the actual cost of the dump are so low that I build that into my price too. So what I'm actually building in for dump fees is my time going there. And I know that, hey, if I'm doing leaf removal, I can fit 2, 3, 4, 5 jobs into the leaf box. And so collectively, I want to get at least 100 or 200 bucks to go dump that leaf box, right? Obviously more is better, but whatever. But I build my price is higher than my competitors, but I let them know, hey, you're not going to have any hidden fees. I'm coming in and our dumping fees are part of our pricing. You know, if I do feel that I'm going to have a hard time selling that job, I'll give them what I call a cap out rate. And I say, hey, look, you know, I think the job's going to take this long, but it might take, you know, say, you know, a couple hours more or whatever. I'm going to give you a cap out rate. You know, it's like a security net for them. And I say, you know, I think the job's going to take me 3 hours. I'm going to put a cap out rate at 5 hours. And, you know, if we go over that, I'll eat the cost. And if we're under it, I'm going to adjust it so that it's, you know, you're only paying for what you received. So, you know, that's something that I will do. Because you can fill out clients after a while, you'll see what they're doing. But, you know, the other thing is like when it comes to man hour rate, I adjust that man hour rate, you know, according to demand. So like the week before Thanksgiving, if somebody's going to call me the week before Thanksgiving and Christmas and they want their leaves cleaned up, I'm in very, very high demand that week. So where I'm charging, you know, so if I have more people, I charge less per man hour. And, you know, somebody else might tell me I'm wrong on that. I don't know. But so when I'm solo, I want to make $100 an hour by myself cleaning up leaves. And I know that I can do that. I'm very efficient. I'm getting the job done oftentimes quicker than a 2-man crew with my setup doing the same type of properties. Right. In my area. I'm not saying somebody else couldn't do it quicker, but And then when I have 2 people, I charge, 85. And when I have 3 people, I'm charging 70 a man hour. So that's $70 per person or $85 per person that's working with me.
Now, when you write this
So I will
bid
adjust
up,
it.
how does it work? Like you write this bid up, you say, all right, Miss Johnson, I do
It's
it by
verbal right over the phone. So they call me up, bring, hey, I need leaf removal. And I tell them right there, all right, awesome. So, I'll look up their property size and I'll check it out and you got trees or whatever. Most of the time, I'm not doing that because I'm out in the field, I'm working. So I got to vet them right there on the phone and I'll let them know, hey, awesome, I can fit you in. I've got spacing, on say Wednesday or whatever in your area. So I'll get their address and their information so that I can onboard them to the system. And then I'll just let them know our hourly rate. I'm going to say, all right, awesome. We're going to come out with a 2-man crew. It's going to be 85 per man hour. And, the average job in your area is about 2 to 3 hours. It could take less, it could take more, but I won't be able to know until I see it. When I do see it, I can tell you a rough estimate, but it is an hourly rate. And just by doing that, you have a continuous safety net. Like you can't mess up when you're making what you need to an hour.
right.
Now, having said that, I've done some really big jobs and they're like, hey, this is more than my mortgage payment. Well, that's really interesting that it is more than your mortgage payment, but it was also a ton of work. So, it's one of those things that is what it is. Occasionally you'll have somebody that doesn't like the high price, but most of the time people know it's a good value. They know that not only are you being fair to them, but you're being fair to yourself as well. So it's a good thing.
You're still on Miss Johnson. So yeah, that's another thing where my confidence, and I'm just speaking for myself, no one else in the audience or comment land or YouTube land or wherever land. My confidence level when I put myself in a situation, this is where I'm still green in business. So I'll go to sell a job and I know it's high ticket. I feel like it'd be better for me. This is just me talking out loud. I feel like it'd be better for me to have that whole number versus being like, hey, it's 60. My man hour rate, I boiled it down to, it's about $45 per man, 42, sometimes $45 per man. But I feel like it's easier for me to say, hey, it's $600 to do this job versus, hey, it's $90. It's going to be $90 an hour to do this. Once they see that $90 an hour, what are you going to do? Just stand around and smoke cigarettes all day? Like, no, you're not. No one's going to be working on, you know what I mean? Clock on my time. No, what's it going to cost? You know what I mean? What's it going to be versus you hand it to them. They know what it's going to be. End of the day, boom, here's your check, or here, I'll send you the invoice online. Something like that. You have a lot of resistance to it. And how long you been doing this man hour rate?
So we started doing the man hour rate back in 2016, 2017. We don't have a whole lot of pushback from it. Occasionally I will bid a lawn straight up. If I can sense certain clients, you'll just know it. You'll know it from talking with them in the first 30 seconds or whatever. And if you're there at the property and you can see it and this job's not going to take you too long, then, you can bid it at whatever. But, the leaves are really deceiving. That's one thing to know for sure, that leaves are deceiving. So unless you're cleaning up lawns that day and you're going to do that leaf cleanup that day, I have an issue with underbidding on time. I mean, that's just something that's why I went to that method. When you're in a neighborhood and they see you working, it'll be much easier to get people on that hourly rate. The other thing is, like, if you're vetting them on the phone and you're telling them the price over the phone, your confidence and how clear you sound and, just sounding like you do it all the time. You know what I mean? Like, it's just very steady in your voice, the way that you do it. You've done it 100 times and you're going to take care of them. That's going to give a lot of confidence to them. And then, reviews, or, you have YouTube, show your work, and not just for, the Black Fork lawn and snow, but take whatever videos you're making for YouTube and make a duplicate video for advertising, or even go back and take your old videos for advertising, just clip it up so it's, a 2-3 minute video, and make a video just for cleanups. Have them in a folder ready to go for leaf season, or put it on your Facebook for your business and set them up so that they're scheduled so they shell out. But do a voiceover and tell them what you're going to do. Tell them how you do it. Tell them why you're efficient. Tell them, hey, when you see me at your property and I'm working hourly, just know I'm going to be working the whole time. You're paying and you're getting what you're paying for. I'm not going to come out and we're not going to take a bunch of breaks. And,
Right.
because, I mean, anybody that's seen my cleanup videos, you've kind of seen how we work. We show up. It's balls to the wall. We work hard. And, that's the way I like doing it. We don't take breaks. If you're going to smoke, hey, you want to smoke? You're going to smoke while you're cleaning up leaves. And I know people, it doesn't look classy to smoke while you're cleaning up leaves, but I'm telling you right now, it's efficient.
I jumped down a dude's throat the other day. Like, I don't need help, but like, there's a couple of guys that roll with me just because it's like, they can't take, I hate to say it like that, but like, they need some help. And I call them up, be like, hey, you want to make some money today? Say, yeah. Dude got out of my truck, just chiefing this cig down, bro. And it's like, I'm having a hard enough time getting into this neighborhood, dog. And you're going to come out here with your fucking neck tattoos and smoking a cigarette. Like, I was already stressed out. And that's Clark. I see him over there trimming, and I see the grass brown after he trims it. So he's already trimming too low, smoking a cigarette with his neck tattoo. I was like, get in the truck, and but one of my things, man, I let things boil up, but one another question but that's good that you got your brother rolling with you, because
even with my brother, I call him out on stuff all the time. Like, I quit smoking, and I don't want smoking on the jobs, but I don't want smoking in my truck either. So I kind of have to compromise. Like with the leaf season, you can smoke on the job. You're outside for a long period of time. On lawns, you're in and out on the lawns. So if he wants to smoke between lawns, I kind of need to compromise. But as far as like letting stuff boil up, the best thing that you can do for that and for your business and for your employees is that when you have those uncomfortable conversations that need to come up, when they mess up, do it right there.
Yeah.
Handle it right there. Handle it directly with them. Don't do it in front of other people. But you need to handle it, and you need to handle it professionally and say, hey, look, I need you to put yourself in my shoes. That's not okay. Like my brother, I love my brother. He's a good worker. He's doing great, but he's got an attitude issue. And he's got a problem with being on the phone lately. And I've had to tell him multiple times, hey, James, if I had another employee working with me right now, I would fire your ass on the spot.
Right.
To make an example out of you being on the phone nonstop. Because the thing is, I'm going back and I'm watching these videos that I'm doing, right? And I could clip together easily a couple-hour video of just this. And I'm like, hey, man, I'm paying for that. I don't care if you're changing your music here and there, but that's not okay. I want him to be a lead, and a lead has to control the pace of the workflow. A lead has to control the professionalism. Whatever I do in the truck, my lead's going to do a little less. He's going to do the same thing, but he's going to do it to lesser quality.
Right.
And then James, if he's at a lesser quality, the person working with him is probably going to do a little less. It sets the work culture right there. So you have to make it clear to whoever's with you to have the high expectations that you have. And the only way you can do that is by not festering on it, because if you fester on it, you're going to lose a good employee. You might have a great employee that you allow to slip and be a lackluster employee, and then you just get rid of them. I've had a lot of employees that would have been great leads, but I wasn't good enough to actually have the uncomfortable conversations and tell them what my expectations were, and vocalize it and put it out there. And then the other issue is, like you need to have something for, going in and giving an evaluation and stuff like that as well, which is something we're setting up now, because unless I clearly articulate it and put it on paper, I want him to be able to see how he's doing and have it in, a document that he can see, and he can go, okay, well, I can lay it out and say, these are the facts. We had an incident that day or that day, and these are the things you're doing good. These are the things you aren't doing good, and that's what you can do better on. And, that way he gets a raise accordingly and stuff.
Now, those it's put in place on bringing. Are these new systems that you're implementing now when you're onboarding employees? Then
yeah, I'm working on all that stuff right now. The onboarding system, the hiring system, our evaluations. Like, I'd like to be able to give an evaluation, start them out at a certain pay and give an evaluation 2 weeks to a month after they've been on, and then give them a couple of evaluations after that. That way they actually I mean, we have seasonality in our business, so they're only with us for a short period of time through the year. I need to establish them as not only being a good fit for my company, but let them know I'm going to take care of them so that they come back the next year. So, for me, I'm trying to position everything right now. Everything I'm doing right now is so that I can jump out of the truck next year and do it with confidence. The last time I got out of my truck for production, not including painting, because I was out of production on painting for a few jobs last year, but for lawn care was in 2017. And I had the old black Chevy. My routing was horrible. My systems in the business were horrible. My communication was horrible. Just everything about it was wrong. But it's taken me several years of tweaking on my business to have confidence to think that I would step out. And regardless of whether James is the person to take over the truck or not, which I haven't guaranteed him the position, if he doesn't show the right qualifications, I'll hire somebody else, and he'll be the guy in the truck with him. I want James to succeed there, but ultimately, it's what's best for K&R. It's what's best for my company. That's what comes first. I'm an employee for the company. I'm just guiding the business. And that's the position I have to put myself in mentally. If I want it to succeed at all, I need to strip myself from the ego of thinking that I'm something special when I'm not,
Right.
the title of owner or whatever. Because it's easy to be, puff yourself up and have ego. We're all in this. And if you started your business, you kind of have an ego issue, whether you admit it or not, because you went off and you did it on your own. And it feels good to do it on your own.
Right.
And then the next step's to say, okay, I did it on my own. I'm ready for somebody else to do this with me, because I can only succeed so far by myself. So I'm ready to take that next leap. And it's more mental shifts than it is shifts in my business. So once you shift yourself mentally, I think you can put yourself in the right position. So we'll just see if I'm right or not, I guess.
Wintertime with your brother, how you going to keep him? I know your guys' winter is a lot different than what it is here, but how you going to keep him busy? Because your Bermuda grass doesn't even start growing till like what, end of April, somewhere around there is when you guys start getting green.
Yeah, Bermuda doesn't start kicking in until late April, early May, sometimes even late May. Like this year was pretty late. That is definitely an issue. So you have to look at season extensions. For us, a big part of that is leaf cleanups and spring cleanups. So we'll be doing a lot of the oddball cleanups and stuff like that. I'll be pushing mulch. And I like to push mulch in the winter to my existing clients. So, if we bring them on and we did the mulch and say April or May, well, that's cool, but I want to do it in January next year or February when I don't have anything going on, so that we can get some hours in there. I want to come clean up your lawn before we get busy so that I can use that time for advertising later and, stuff like that. So that'll give me some season extension there, but then you're still only talking about a portion of it. So the rest of that would be investing into marketing. Having the painting business helps. Like this past winter, we were on a painting job all of February, so that took up a large portion of our winter. I will say, I don't think that worked out to my best benefit. I think I was stuck on that job for so long that I just was frustrated with it, and I wasn't allowing myself to think, and I'm human just like anybody else. And I will say one of the downfalls to painting is it makes you want to drink. So I was drinking a decent amount at the end of the day, I'd have a drink probably every night and then pass out. And I'm like, okay, that day's over. Wake up and do it again. So, it's so boring too, man. I like the exterior, but the interior painting, it's just a nightmare headache. You're under tow from your clients, and they're above you. It's wintertime. So
I want to get into the painting here in a little bit. You've mentioned a couple different times, and I mentioned it as well, as confidence. I find myself struggling with confidence when it deals with certain clients, or sometimes with people who are working with me, or even confidence in myself. Is there anything you can say? Maybe someone else is out there. Like, is there any time that you sat back and you were like, wow, you've seen it yourself. You're like, wow, okay, this is what I'm doing. This is how I'm going to shift. And the effects afterwards on that. Like, have you ever been like, Mrs. Johnson, you just don't have no balls when it comes to telling her on prices. Have you ever had any clients like that, or how'd you deal
Oh
with
yeah,
your
for sure,
confidence
man.
issues and demanding,
Um,
knowing your worth is like, I didn't want to use that word, but there's no other way of doing it. You got to have the confidence to tell people what you're worth. Eh, Go ahead with it.
all right. So anybody that's in there, um, anybody that's been through the first couple of years of the business, any business, probably recognizes the feeling of just screaming in your head or telling yourself over and over, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do that. For me, like with transitioning into weekly loans, I was like, I'm done with biweekly. I'm over it. I'm done. I'm not doing it anymore. I called my wife for like 2 years and I'm telling her on the phone, I'm done with this. I need you to write up an email, send it to them. I mean, it was this constant battle in this loop. So if you're going to get confident and, if you're going to make changes, getting it's just a mental push, like in 2018, I kind of went nuts on Facebook before I started the Lawn Care Juggernaut YouTube channel. And I just started making daily lives. And I think that was great for my confidence because I was kind of in this shell of where you've been. Well, only you're more charismatic than I was, I think. But, with just the hustle and the working and looking down and grinding at it. And I'd gotten to this point where in my first couple of years, I was looking up and I was really enjoying it. And then in about my third year, somewhere in the 3.5 year mark, I started kind of looking down and just going through the paces. So it was up, 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 stagnant.
Mm-hmm.
And then it wasn't until I started actually, making things change. And so you kind of have to go through this brutal tearing down of yourself to kill off your old characteristics and change who you are now.
You said in
I mean,
17, 18, you tried to get out of the truck the first time.
yeah,
But you didn't have proper systems in place. You didn't have your routing down. You didn't have your numbers good. You didn't have all these essential things. I feel like that's a lot like me right now. I feel like, and maybe this could reflect in not this group. This group of people are just awesome, but like for other business owners, want to build for myself personally. I'm trying to build this, and I caught myself. This is last week, 2, 3 weeks ago. I've just had a lot of self reflection, man. It's like I felt like I wanted to build it all so fast. I wanted it all right now, all real fast. We could do all right at 8:45. We're doing this all the way down, all the way filled up, and I just wanted to have that $100,000 business so quick, and I wanted to be out of the truck in a year. But this is my first. I felt myself just going crazy. Is that some of the same
yeah,
situations you was in 17, 18, where you didn't have anything in place, but you didn't know you didn't have it in place?
yeah. And you kind of have to go through that to figure it out. Or you had to have been in my opinion, if you were in a business that had more structure and you were higher up in it and you saw how it worked, well, then you could have that, leverage jump into, being in a better position in your business. But it, if you're in the position like us, you're the guy probably on the floor or maybe a technician at the plant you were at, which is similar to where I was at in the factory. And, even if I go further back and I was a shift lead at Sonic, so I thought I was like, I mean, that's almost 10 years ago now, but I thought I was like really until I was a lead, man. I was a shift lead. And then when I was at the factory, I worked myself into a tech spot. So I had this, like I said, that ego thing where I thought, yeah, I can do this. This is nothing.
Right.
And that's really common with people in their first year or two to think they know everything. And then, the place to be for sure is to realize you don't know as much and start asking the right questions with the right people. Like my systems aren't in place enough right now.
Yeah,
They're just not.
you got on to me over the winter about like, well, how's your system on this? I was like, dude, I don't have any systems. You're like, yes, yes, you do. How do you take on new clients? What do you do? What do you do? And I'm like, oh, well, I do this. You're like, oh, that's a system. Get it on paper. Do this,
Yeah.
do that. And I was like, I didn't understand what business was. And like, I was just so silly this earlier part of spring when trying to force, because of my ego, trying to force this conglomerate business. And it was almost to my own destruction. I took on a 30-acre cemetery, almost took on a second 22-acre cemetery, And I just slowed down. I subbed the other cemetery out and just took care of my core group of people. Meanwhile, everybody around me was telling me to do that the whole time. It's just,
Yeah.
I don't know how I didn't see it on my own. And it's like I'm making more money now and doing a little bit less work. So it's like that's what I got into business for. I spent the first couple of weeks running like crazy for no reason.
Well, you get so caught up in just the daily paces that you forget to think about your business. Like one of the ways to do that, like I like listening. Well, that's a good comment, by the way.
Yeah,
One of the things I like, doing is, we all listen to music. I like listening to audiobooks as well, but then just, put your headphones in and just have silence, listen to your thoughts in your head, and you'll work out some issues in your business pretty quick because you mow the same lawns over and over. You know what you're doing. It's brainless work after a while. I'm not saying, and some people might be sensitive to that. It's brainless work, but really, after you've done the same lawn over and over, you kind of space out the whole time you're on it, right?
yeah.
So that gives you a lot of time to think about your business and what you're going to do. So one of the things I missed from my first couple of years was like actually I don't miss not making. Let me word it right. I don't miss push mowing because I wasn't making money, but I do miss push mowing because it was like kind of therapeutic to just let my mind space out. You can do the same thing in a zero turn too, but that's one thing for sure. Like I said, I don't think my systems are in place to the fullest extent I need to be. I'm not ready to jump out of the truck. I'm still scared. I can admit that I'm scared to make the move. It's a big move. You're talking about a lot of income cut off that you're going to be putting into labor. But I also know that I am very good at selling work. And if I just put myself into a position to be in that fight or flight mode to sell work, I can find guys to produce the job and I will sell the work. And that's kind of a position I'm in. I've talked about in one of my videos, like, and I went to the doctor's for it recently, but I have plantar fasciitis, but I also have, I don't know what they call it, some kind of weird bump on the back of my ankle that started showing up. And my doctor told me that, if it continues and it gets worse, then my Achilles tendon could actually come apart. I don't know how that works. He used the word explode, which is kind of scary, right?
That's a bad word.
Yeah, man. So like I wake up in pain, and I'm not trying to sound like woe is me, pity me. It's I fight through it every day, but pretty much everybody that's been doing this for a long time, they have something on their body that's hurting. If you're I've noticed on the zero turn, it's my ribs, or my back might start hurting.
Oh yeah,
with
dude,
that bulky plate.
My gun tears into my hip. So it's like I don't even carry my firearm anymore. And it's like some of the places I mow at, it's like you need your firearm. So I know exactly what you're saying, man. Dude, that's why I love to bring you on. And I caught myself, we were talking about like spinning your wheels, like, dude, just a couple of days ago, I had a friend of mine, Transylvania Turf. He was like, dude, you're complaining about work during a depression. Like 20% of America right now is like mandatorily laid off from their job. So it's like you're getting what you asked for. And I'm like, and it's just like a gut check. Like I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right. You know what I mean? And I'm happy to be where I'm at for sure.
Dude, if you talk with the guys that are doing commercial work, like if you're focused on commercial stuff, a lot of those guys are popping off, man. I've got a buddy that went from 100,000 last year to doing. I think he said he's going to finish the year somewhere around 600,000 or 700,000. So, he made the leap, jumped out of the truck, focused on selling commercial. He's doing apartment complexes and stuff, and had really, really rapid growth. And he just had to put himself out there. What the hell's that? All right. Anyways, that's. It's kind of risk reward. So you hear the people saying that it's depression and business is hurting. We're not growing, but that's my own fault right now. With door hangers being our main source of advertising.
I was gonna ask you about that with the Corona COVID-19 thing that came up in the early part of spring, because I know you hire a whole bunch of people, and you
Yeah,
destroy neighborhood like you paint
yeah.
houses with advertising. How is your business doing right now with all that? And are you gonna? I got it wrote down. Are you gonna fire that marketing machine back up? And if not, is it too late, or is it ever too late to stop marketing, or
I
what?
shouldn't have stopped marketing. I stopped marketing because I was kind of worried with, I just felt out the whole scenario of everything and what the kind of climate was in my area and how people were acting on Facebook groups in the neighborhoods that I'm working. And, they were kind of tripping out from people passing stuff out and stuff. So instead of having my name on blast in the areas I'm working, I cut it off. And now I'm going, well, I probably shouldn't have done that because I would have been sitting a lot better. We could easily handle probably, well, we could easily double or even triple our workload. I mean, we hit 32 lawns in one day
Yeah.
this year. And if I hadn't had a blowout on my tire, we could have hit 35 because we could have definitely hit 34. And I was like, I can't fit that 35 in. So I just called it a day. So I was kind of pissed that I didn't hit 35. But that route was extremely inefficient too. So, it was all across town doing that route because I kind of had it all mixed up that day. If it was super tight, I bet we could hit 40 lawns in a day. But, if I just put myself in a position of selling jobs, I don't care really right now if it's residential or commercial. I just want to fill man hours and make it happen.
Yeah, if
So
you got that big fancy 61-inch Ferris, that's not really your style. You kind of talked against that last year, and then this winter you went and got
yeah,
that big machine. So has your mind changed on the bigger machine? Because if you can get a 60. I heard Johnny Moe say in a video a year or two ago, if a 61 will fit on it, I'm putting a 61 on. And I think because you went from that that 36-inch X Mark to a 61-inch Ferris, that's a big jump. That's a huge jump.
yeah.
So you plan
Well,
on
I can
running
tell
more
you,
bigger machines?
yeah, we won't downgrade. So the 36 is great. We're fitting it in backyards. And in my area and the type of residential lawns I have, the 36 and the 61 are a great combo. This I don't think it would be beneficial to have like a 52 or anything because pretty much anything a 52 would fit in my area. They've got a gate that'll fit as 61. So the 36 gets me in the tiny gates. And in the section of town that I'm at, I kind of already phased out the gates that were smaller than 36 inches.
Mm-hmm.
So, if I go any further north in my city, then I start running into a lot of, gates that only fit a 21-inch push mower. But where I'm at, and if I go south, then I'm in the clear for 36 and up. So, we'll definitely keep that set up, man, because it's extremely efficient. But the other thing is you're not wiped out. At the end of the day, you can mow. We mowed 32 lawns and we felt like we could go do more, so it's not as physically tasking on the body.
Is your brother mowing yet? Is he running the mower?
So I've got him using the 61. I don't have him using the X Mark yet.
Does he have a
and
driver's
that's one
license?
of the key things. Yeah, he does. Yeah, so he could definitely take over the lead spot, and he could do it now. I've actually had him driving the truck and run that for a day, and I just sat in the passenger seat and let him do his thing. He will be using the 36. Do you remember the 36-inch Toro that I bought when I bought the 61?
I think so. It had
It's just an old
with the
it's an
blown
old belt
engine.
drive.
You said it had a blown engine,
Yeah.
or yeah. But it didn't.
I mean,
It wasn't
runs,
blown.
it runs like, yeah, it wasn't blown, but it ran, but it didn't run real well. So we're gonna slap. We're gonna get a Briggs and Stratton, I think, and slap that on there. And
going away from the Predator engines.
I don't know, man. I mean, well, Briggs and Stratton so damn cheap too. So
right, you gotta love them
I've got
Predators.
a buddy
I'm about to go
that
get one.
I've got a buddy. Well, I was wanting to throw. The Ferris has got like I think it's a 27 horsepower, 25 or 27 or something. And I was wanting to throw that on the 36 and turn it into a monster, cutting like really overgrown lawns.
cutting
But
stump. That's your new stump grinder. That's all that would turn into at that point.
yeah, I don't know if it would fit or not. It might take a bunch of rigging and getting like a 17 and a half horsepower, I can just slap it on. So we'll probably get that bolt one on. We're ready to go. So I'll be training James on that.
Right.
And the X Mark, I've had people ask me if I'm going to keep that or if I'm going to sell it. And I don't even know if I would sell it at this point. Like, it doesn't have any of the safeties. I've rigged it up several times. It's got so much rigging on there for me, just keeping it alive, that I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't feel comfortable putting somebody else in that position. So
early this spring, whenever I was learning how to drive a zero turn, whenever I broke a spindle on the 44-inch Quest, I didn't have no other choice. David, a guy that does a lot, I sub a lot of work to. He said, I got this Skag walk behind. You want to buy it off me? I'm like, I'll think about it. You know what I mean? I was like, can I use it right now? He's like, yeah, go take it. I didn't have no choice. I had to learn how to drive this walk behind. Well, I've seen all these videos, Julio Tomei, all these guys using walk behinds. I'm like, this can't be that hard. I was so wrong. It took me, dude, I got stuck. Listen, I got stuck. The little hand thing on the left-hand side got stuck. I couldn't get the thing unclipped. So I'm going in a circle and David's yelling at me, just let go, jump off, let go. And I'm like, I can't. He's like, just let go. And I'm going in a circle, panicking. I'm barely moving. It's not even all the way throttled. So it's like, now I got the walk behind down. I didn't end up buying off him. He ended up selling it. I kind of miss that walk behind now. So it's like, now I'm kind of like wanting a machine, but you said you took all the safeties off, and I could only imagine putting a new guy on a machine without any safeties on one of them. But it was a little bit different, but man, there ain't no way. Them are dangerous. Walk behinds are dangerous machines. I love them now that I know how to ride them, but I even put one through a fence.
Just to clarify, I didn't take the safety off, but there's a safety, the switch, the little hand levers.
Yeah.
When you hit that, it'll have a lever that hits the switch. Well, that broke off, and I haven't had a new piece welded on. So that's what's broke. But because that's broke, I had to basically rig up the other switches to, make it work. So yeah, at this point, if somebody were to lose it, it's gonna go, and it's gonna take out a wall or a car or a fence, or
I went through a fence.
Whatever. So
I went through a fence. I didn't even let go.
If the blades are on, they're not going to stop either. But I will say, I've run mowers without safeties for years. It's horrible to say. Somebody's going to get on here and gut me on this. And I used to be a safety guy at the factory when I was there. So, I understand the issue. I also understand getting fucking work done and doing what you got to do.
Right.
But
I was so slow. Everybody's like, put that.
It should have been something that I fixed this winter. Yeah, it's something I should have fixed this winter. But, I had a Honda walk behind a 48. They don't make those anymore. I think it was made in like 2001 or something. It was awesome mower, but it was, so old that when I got it, the safeties weren't there. So there was this one time I was riding the Velke, and this yard had like railroad tie flower bed that went into the next section of the yard or whatever, but it was only like this far up out of the ground. So it was barely on the ground. And, I'd normally just cruise right over it. No big deal. Well, one time it caught the Velke plate. Like, my tire was a little lower on pressure or something. Caught that Velke plate, and I went up and over the mower, and I landed right beside the mower, man. Blades are still spinning, and my arm was tucked in, luckily, and it went right past me. But if my arm would have been down, I don't think I'd be doing lawns today. You know what I mean? So it's definitely, it ain't right. And I know it's not right. So that's something that, like I said, moving forward, I'll put myself in that kind of dumb position. But the reality of it is, I can't put anybody else in that position. And even them just working around that machine like that is putting them kind of in that position. So it's a horrible situation. So it's something I do definitely have to work out. So that was what the belt drive is for, because that belt drive, that machine, I've had one in the past, and they're so easy to teach employees how to run them. And I think that'll be a good addition to our business. Because, like, if it gets away from you, you just let it go, and it just sits there. Like, it'll turn the transmission will turn, but the belt doesn't have pressure on it, so it just stops. Compared to a hydro, if you lose it, it's going to keep going for like 3 or 4 feet before it dies. So it's more liability, in my opinion.
Oh, I've seen some videos too, just random people taking clips of people who lose and walk behind mowers. Like whenever I was going in that
Oh
circle,
God.
dude, I've seen it to where people had them going full bore like that, and it's like, what do you do at that point? Like the dude was trying to reach up and try to grab the handle every time it'd go around. I'm like, man, if that thing straightens up, or you hope it runs out of gas. Like I don't know what to tell you, but some of them got 5-6 gallon tanks on there. But I did want to ask you about your painting business. You lightly mentioned it. What's going on with your painting business? I haven't seen too many videos from it. Or are you still full bore in it?
Um,
Or
yeah, so it's one of those things that's just kind of on the back burner. I put in a couple estimates with my mowing clients, but because the same situation, because we couldn't throw out door hangers, like I don't have a website set up for the painting business yet. Like last year, we threw it together and we made it happen, and it did really well. So, moving forward, it's one of those things that as I progress in lawn care, we're going to be progressing in the painting as well. Like I'm going to be selling both. Um, I don't see it as an issue. It's pretty easy to sell them both. We're fully equipped for it. Like we have the box truck, we have all the sprayers and all that stuff. So if we wanted to, we could just hire a couple of employees, which, and that's even one of those things like with the painting rig, what I would kind of like is having enough workload that I could just move my truck around like a traveling circus, take that from job to job doing exterior jobs. And when they're done with the job, I just move to the next one, say, hey, there it is. Here's the keys. You know what I mean? And they can get in and out of the truck. Insure it, and it is what it is. But yeah, we are thinking about possibly using subcontractors and just selling the jobs and lining that up. I don't know which method I'm going to use yet. My wife and I are still kind of debating on it. So we have full capability of going either way. Like subcontractors, you don't need all the equipment. You do need to have insurance for covering them and liability and stuff like that. But which we have, but we don't like we kept all the insurance and everything going, even though we're not selling anything. So at the spur of the moment, if I sell a job, we're ready to go, and we're planning on firing up painting door hangers as soon as I'm about to take a trip. Don't tell anybody, guys. I'm gonna take a vacation for the first time in forever. I don't know if you can count the GIE as a vacation. That was a blast. Well, it's kind of an impromptu thing. So James is staying here. He's watching the house, but my wife and I are going down to Galveston Island with our daughter. It's going to be kind of a birthday thing. She wanted to go to the ocean. Yeah, it's going to be a blast, man. First time in years, my wife was giving me hell last year when I went to the GIE. She wanted to take a vacation, right? And we hadn't done it in years. We haven't had a vacation since our honeymoon, so it's been about 8 years now. And then I went to Michigan, so that didn't help the situation. And then
business trip.
Yeah. So it just didn't help. She was completely understanding and super supportive though, so that was cool of her. But we're going to go down to Galveston Island, check out the ocean, maybe eat some lobster or whatever.
You brought Rachel up a couple of different times. She runs all your books and all your. She's your HR director, correct?
Yeah, pretty much. She's not in the office as much as she could be, but yeah, she does. I don't want to not give her enough credit either. So like, she does she does a lot. But like, if I'm like, can you get in here more? You know what I mean? It's never enough. You know what I mean? Like, I could always use a little more help.
Your own hole there.
Yeah, for sure. She does all the stuff for taxes and stuff like that, which is great because it takes all the pressure off me. I'm not very good with sitting down and messing with receipts, and I don't want to say I'm not tech savvy because the honest truth is I'm not very tech savvy, but I will get on and I'll learn things and learn the basics and make it happen. But Rachel's great with doing the tax stuff and dealing with all that hassle and calling the IRS. Like for several years, man, if you're in this position too, or if anybody else is in this position, we owed the IRS money for several years, and like 10 grand. I was in the hole, man. I don't know if anybody else on YouTube is willing to say that, but I owed the IRS money. I don't now, thank God. But dude, it sucked. I'm like, I worked my ass off all year, and I owe him money. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not even making money.
Right.
So, but anyways, yeah, we're getting off subject. Rachel does pretty much all the HR. She invoices everybody at the end of the night. She handles a lot of the communication with my clients through emails. I pretty much ignore the emails. She'll send out estimates for me when it comes to painting or big cleanups. I'll call her up when I'm at a job site and I'll say, hey, can you write this up for me? I'll talk with her, give her a few key notes. She works up the estimate, and then basically we have a very easy formula for writing estimates. It's all plug and play. So I'll just give
Right.
her a little bit of wording on this and that needs to be tweaked for that specific property. And then she can, save it right there on the phone. I pull it up on my software on my phone, and she does it on the computer, but I'll pull it up on my phone and I'm going, okay, yep, looks good. And I'll say, send it out to the client. You know what I mean? So, I mean, that stuff really helps. When we were doing a ton of door hangers, she was running the crew for me, which was awesome because I was able to be, on whatever job I was. Like last year, the production was just insane. So, it was obviously the most I've ever worked. It didn't feel like it because I was getting so much help in so many areas. Like even the guy I had painting with me last year, it didn't work out with him, but he was for a short period of time, he was rehabilitating his life. He'd been through drug scenarios and stuff like that. And unfortunately, he kind of fell back into that. And that's what caused that to not work. But for a short period of time, I really thought he was going to turn it around. And he was a great employee for a little bit. So,
Yeah, the reason I ask is me and Kayla, like the first couple weeks were when the business fired back up, I was never home. And it's like I'm trying to do all that. I'm so stressed out. I'm trying to do all this, invoice people, send out estimates, do this, do that. Where's all the receipts at? I like to separate my receipts. I also take pictures through my QuickBooks, but it's like I'm trying to do all this. And she's here with the baby, take care of the house, but she's just like, I'll help you. I'll help you. I'll help you. And it's just like now I didn't listen. So like I come up with the bright idea, hey, how about you help me out? And she's like, I've been saying this. So now I'm trying to teach her how to do the QuickBooks because I matched my QuickBooks with Lawn Pro software. So it's like it's all the systems I've been trying to build are super simple. But like someone else told me, a friend of mine, Johnny Moe, told me, he's like, hey man, he called me a couple weeks ago. He's like, hey man, the divorce rate for lawn care guys is 70% or something like that. Dude, just make sure you take care of family. Make sure he goes, I see your videos. You're gone till dark. Don't be silly, you know, take care of family. So it actually helped me out a lot. And I was just going to ask you, like, did it bring you guys like closer together being that like it's both your business, but now she actually has a major part in it?
well, before Rachel and I got married, she was kind of a career woman, and she's had to transition into being a stay-at-home mother. And that kind of started happening when we lived in Kansas. She has Crohn's disease, and I saw her in situations where she was so uncomfortable from it at work and just at home. And because I was seeing it all the time, I'm like, hey, you should just stay home. I make enough money. I'll take care of you. And so since I did that at the factory, when I got when we moved to Tulsa, I just took that responsibility and I rolled with it because that's what I told her I would do. Um, and then she got pregnant shortly after we came to Tulsa. And so she's been kind of a stay-at-home mom. So it was this transition over several years of her being a little more each year involved with the business. So she was right there supporting me the whole time. You said your wife had the idea of helping you out before you said it. And I think the reality of it is most of us that are married, our wife goes, hey, I got this idea. And then you're like, uh-huh. And then about 3 months later, you're like, hey, I got this idea.
It's
really,
brilliant idea.
It came from her. Yeah, I'm pretty sure my wife told me she talked about guys being in business and lawn care before I ever thought about it. And for me, coming from a small town, I'm like, yeah, little kids mow lawns. They do it for gas money or whatever.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? I didn't think it was a legitimate career option, but it definitely can be. So, it's one of those things that, it's been a constant evolution for us. One of the things that will make it easier for her is like I was saying with, when you talk about the systems or stuff and how I talked about it, if you just simplify what you're doing and you guys kind of work through it and make it as easy as possible, like remove as much complication as possible, um, it'll really make her helping you out much easier. Because in the beginning, when she starts helping you, and you've probably already had it, you guys have had plenty of fights already, haven't you?
Oh yeah, that's what we're
Yeah.
pros, bro. Pros,
Yeah,
professional wrestlers.
button heads over it because you see it being a certain way and she sees it being a certain way, and you guys might see the same outcome, but you don't see it working the way she does, or she doesn't see it working the way you do,
Well,
or
actually,
she knows
she's
that,
a
hey,
lot
that's
more
fine,
hard.
but I could do it better.
Well, exactly. She's a lot more hardcore than me. Where I'm more of the guy that's like, well, she's on disability, she's this and she's that. Well, Kayla does all my tax. She's good with numbers. Like she's just one of them weirdos that can you can just ask her random numbers, times them by two, then divide them, and she can just do all that in her head. She's like a walking calculator. She's one of
Yeah.
them people. So she does all my taxes, she does all that stuff, and well, she's hardcore with the numbers. So she's been since I've come up with the bright idea to where she can do all the invoicing stuff. Dude, I've been passing a buck off. We're so close to just her handling all she's talking to clients and everything. We're this close away from that happening because I'll call her and all my clients know now. The people I talk to now, I say, well, my wife handles all this and this. Didn't realize I've been getting more jobs because I just are that open and honest. I don't know. My percentage rate has went up a little bit because I'm like, hey, I'm gonna take some pictures and videos. I'm gonna send this to my wife. She's gonna pull it up on Google Earth. She does all this and all that. And she'll be like, no, we need to get this, and this for this job because it's going to take you about this long because that's how long it took you last time. And she's just hardcore with it. So actually, my profits is starting to go up. People aren't scared to tell. People will tell me I don't know, man, it seems a little high. For her, she just comes off hey, this is so and so. This is going to be X amount of dollars to do this, and that's the way it is. And we're starting to close more jobs. I'm getting paid more, and I don't have to do it. I don't have to be the if they don't like it. Where I had one guy was like, "Man, it just seemed like a little high," and I was like, "Yeah, no, she's a little. It is what it is." I point the buck off on her. You know what I mean? I'm not getting the job either way, but I'm not the asshole at the at the end of the day. So it's kind of it's my cop out of not having the confidence. But she's just so much better at business, the business end of it, the grunt work. I'll like a mule, buddy. I'm out there just to getting it. You know what I mean? And it's just, if I'd have just done this at the beginning or even last year when I opened my LLC, but it is what it is. It's all about learning. And I can't wait to see what our systems look like at the start of middle of April next year, just knowing that she's full bore in the office. Cause that's our project now is the shop that you helped me get the shop. You was able to tell me oh, you can easily afford this shop. Remember that last year?
Yeah, for sure. It made it easier when you ran the numbers on. Just
it made it much easier, dude.
It's, when you're talking about getting jobs, the same way it goes with jobs. When you just plug the numbers and you say, hey, I mean, your job as a salesman, you need to go out there and you need to represent your company. But
right,
if you just plug the numbers and you take the emotion out of it, it's going to be a lot easier to sell that job too. Hey, cool. I mean, I got a formula. When you got a formula, it's easy.
Yeah,
so, you just punch a number and you go. So I will say that the more you delegate work to her and you just set her free on taking care of work, the easier your life's going to be. So for me, I've got the same situation as Rachel, and I know a huge problem of my own is that I'm very, very, very controlling. I'm very hands-on. I like to be involved, and so I'm in this constant battle of myself of trying not to be as involved, trying to release some of the workload, take the pressure off myself. And the more I do that, the less stress-free my business gets. Like when I was out mowing and I was solo, I could probably do that the rest of my life and be happy.
Right.
To be honest, it's boring. But I can, I could just check out, mow solo, do what I had to pay the bills, come home, be home about 3:00, not really grow our company very much, but, have enough to pay bills. And if something happens, well, we're kind of screwed, but whatever, just go on with life. And I'd be happy because I can be in control. But then I have the other side of me that's I want to grow. I know I can grow. I'm not satisfied with not getting to the next level. I'm not satisfied with being where I'm at. Kind of like with YouTube, and you talk about subscribers. Well, I look at the subscribers. I love that I have so many people that support the channel. I'm not satisfied with seeing that. I got to 1,000. That was cool. 2,000. It's not as satisfying as I thought it'd be. When I see 10,000, I look for the big numbers.
Right. The next step.
The performance indicators. Yeah. So, 1,000, 5,000, 10,000,
At
then it'd be
1,000.
like 20,000. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, to me, that's kind of like in the same way you look at business with your, the easiest one to look at is how much revenue you do for the year. You're like, okay, well, cool. I did 30 grand, I did 50 grand, I did 60 grand, I broke 100. You know what I mean? Or just even on a monthly basis. What was your first high month you had where you're like, okay, I'm really doing this?
She's got all the numbers, but I think I made somewhere almost like 6 grand. And like,
Yeah.
I never, that sounds like not a lot to a lot of other business owners, but in 1 month, my business brought in 6 grand. To me, that was amazing.
Yeah.
I remember my first job just a couple weeks ago. It was $1,000 job, and it only took me 6 hours, about 6 hours to make $1,000. Now that ain't all profit, but still, that's $1,000 paycheck. And I was like, and then I talked to Mike Gunn, and Mike Gunn's like, well, that should be your goal for every day. Cause I was like, man, I need to be making like $500 a day. He's like, you need to be making $1,000 a day and then looking for more, and Mike just as well as I do. He just hardcore. Like he's business.
Mike's a smart dude. I like Mike. So I will tell you that, okay, you're somewhere around the $6,000 mark is what you said.
Yeah. And it's amazing for me.
Okay, real fast. I was talking about like when you felt like you were in it. So, one of the first videos I saw on YouTube was Greg Chisholm, and it was how to make $100 a day.
Right.
And I was like, that's when it kind of clicked, man. I was in the middle of winter. I was already doing kind of cleanups with tree stuff. And then I was like, I just transitioned to lawn care, and I was like, oh, I can make $100 a day. Well, if I went and worked every day, because I've worked every day when I was at the factory, and I made $100 a day, then I can make $3,000. That's about what I was making at the factory. You know what I mean? So that's when it clicked to me. But anyways, the one thing, and then it actually took me longer to get to 3,000 than I anticipated. Like, it was pretty difficult to get to that first $3,000, and then it jumped to like 6, and then you might stay stagnant. I stayed stagnant around 6 or 7 for a while, and then you jump to 10. You know what I mean? So the one thing I do want to tell you is that, like, at that $6,000 mark, and I told Adam Devine this last year, that when you get to that $6,000 mark, it's not that hard to jump to the $10,000 revenue mark.
I feel
it's really not.
Right. I feel that way right now. If I wouldn't have cut back on some of the work I was doing, because it was just for me, not worth it. I know I can go find more profitable work. Like, I'm looking at it like I can easily make 10K this month. Like, not this month, but for the month of July is what my schedule is looking like. I'm like, there's no reason that I can't make this happen. There's no reason.
Yeah.
And I remember talking to you last fall about this kind of stuff, and I was just like struggling to pay my water bill after my water was getting shut off, or couldn't afford a room to go up to Novi, and it's just like, this is silly. But like I said in my last video, is like the words I was choosing to talk, like the things I was choosing to say, I didn't allow the universe to bring these good things into my life, because I was just projecting this poverty mindset of not necessarily a woe is me, but like I just didn't tell the universe what I wanted. It was that simple. It was just that simple. And it's like silly. It's just silly.
Yeah. You have lack of clarity on your own ambition. So where you're at right now, as far as the stage in your business, my wife would have just had my daughter, right? Because we started our business right around the time she got pregnant. And so July 3rd, in 2014, our daughter was born. And we went the first 5 or 6 months of my daughter being born with no gas on in the house, taking cold showers. We struggled to pay the bills for a long time.
Yeah. I just paid off my electric bill. That was like racked up from over the winter. It was almost $2 grand. Almost $2 grand. It's crazy.
it wasn't until 2018 that we were able to start paying our damn rent on time. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's a struggle when you've got the mindset that I kind of talked about that in my video earlier today, where you don't feel confident when you're starting with no money, and you feel like you're in a lesser than situation. And when the bank account's low, you're desperate because you just know you got to pay that bill, but you don't realize all the expenses you had in that job to get the job done. So you're really just trading money from one spot to another. It's kind of a
Yeah,
rough issue.
I definitely agree. Hey, I just threw that link up. If anybody wants to jump up here, we're just kind of hanging out now. Ben, Acme. But anyway, that's what the point of my last my 2 videos ago. I was like, this is the reality of starting a lawn care business. You're gonna have a 1/2-ton truck, you're gonna build your own box, you're gonna have a single axle trailer. But the thing is, I was blessed and I was lucky because I have a good friend named Ray who called me and said, "Hey, bro, I know." Like here's how Ray hooked me up with that mower. I called him back like Thanksgiving or before Christmas, and I was like, "Hey, I see that quest in your videos." This is back when Ray just had like a handful of subscribers. He's like, "Yeah, what about it?" I said, "If you ever go to sell it, let me know." He's like, "All right, bet." Couple weeks go by. It's Christmas. It's a little after Christmas. He's like, "Hey, this spring, bro, if you want it, come down and get it." I'm like, "All right, cool." And I go down there and he's like, he just give it to me. Just straight give me a mower. Is that Rachel?
It's James.
Oh, he's the star of the show right there.
He is the star of the show. He brought the channel to life, man.
He did.
We'll have to get him on. You got YouTube on your phone, don't you?
Not like you guys do.
Yeah, we'll get him on next time.
What'd he say?
He said, "Not like you guys do."
I'm
We'll
trying
get him popped up here on. That'd be cool though.
I'm trying to get Acme to come up here. We can paste this. There's my comment. I'll throw it up again. Maybe Acme's not seeing it. Trying to
I bet Jay and his wife have some stories.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, they said they started out, and I heard in one of his videos he said he saved $40,000 before they started up. I mean, imagine being in that position. How awesome that is, but also the dedication that it took to save that much money.
See, yeah, exactly. So now it's like I look at it, I'm like, yeah. I don't know what I was thinking. I never deserved to even be able to start a business, but that's a good thing about it because I look at it like not a whole lot of people can make these moves. Not a whole lot of people. These are crazy decisions. Crazy decisions. The job I walked away from was safe, secure, but that's what you talked about ego earlier. Like no one, like my ego was so big. It was like, I don't need this safe, secure job. Yeah, I got a 1-year-old at the house and this and that. Yeah, I can go make it on my own. It's like the chances of that actually happening are so slim. But I have people I can rely on, like with like you and different people in the community, to where it's like when I'm making a mistake, people call me out on it. You know, Scotty Mack, he's in here somewhere. He randomly calls me when he sees me messing up. He's like, "Hey, it ain't none of my business." But you know, and that's where that but comes in. He's like, this is what you're doing, and I wouldn't do it this way. Or you said this and you should have said that, or just different things. He's like, it's none of my business. But if I was you, I would do this. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So I've had help. A lot of people haven't had help. And I am thankful for the age of information that we're in now. It's like, imagine being in the 1990s and just being a dude that was raised in a single mother environment, didn't have the positive male role models, and then trying to start a business. It's crazy to think.
Dude, I remember just watching like Greg Chisholm, Lawn Care Millionaire. Even when Johnny Moe rolled around, dude, I'd watch all those guys and just watch them every night in silence, right there on my phone with headphones in. Yeah. Every night, that's what I'd do. And, I didn't even have the confidence to comment on their channel, man.
Right.
And tell them how much they'd help me. So I did have the confidence. In one video, Greg said something about, if you reach out to him, he'll email you a copy of his flyer. And that's how I was able to get a hold of him later down the road, which was pretty cool. So
I remember whenever I first started to get in that, I was I was already in that drug world real bad, and I was trying to find a way out of it because I just lost my job, and I was like, man, what am I gonna do? That's how I found Greg Chisholm, because I was like, this is my first time going to like a detox type thing, and I was like, I need to restart. I had my own little business. It was JJ JJ Property Services or something like that. You know, it was like haul off junk, pressure, just whatever. But I wasn't in the right state of mind to do it. And I would sit there and binge watch all of Greg's videos on like how to make $100 a day. And I remember thinking, if you just, yeah, it's all you needed. If you could just make $100 a day, you know, that's $500 to $700 a week. There's no reason that you couldn't couldn't chisel a lot of great living doing it that way. But I was so not in the right state of mind at that point in time to where I needed a long way to go.
It seems so easy when you're naive to it too. Like that's for me, my ego, when I was talking about keeping me in business, you said for you had the ego to quit your job. For me, I didn't have a job at the time because like, okay, so my wife, you know, she's got a Crohn's, but her father passed away like right after we got married. And she just fell apart, man. Because like I said, she was a career woman. She quit her job to come be with me. Like, and she had a legit career. She was making damn good money, right? And she quit her job to come be with me because I didn't want to leave the factory I was at because I was too damn scared. You know, I was like, well, I've worked into this position, which now in hindsight was a petty position, and I should have just come to Tulsa, let her keep her job, hopefully fall into lawn care. Who knows if I would have or not, though. But you know, it would have been cool. Like at that time, I could have quit my job and just went and lived with her. She could have been my sugar mama. You know what I mean? Like that's the position she was in financially. So, which was kind of how she treated me when we got back together. She, you know, because we dated when I was like 15, and then when we got back together, she kind of brought me up here to Tulsa, and I'm this small town guy, and she like took me to the mall and bought me clothes, and you know, kind of wine and dine selling me. You know, and
Kansas anymore.
Yeah, and then you know, I ended up we ended up getting back together, and then I don't know. She ended up moving to Ark City, and I bought a house in Kansas, right? And for $17,500. It was a 1-bedroom studio with 2-car garage underneath and utility room. I'm getting off track. I don't even know where the hell I was going with that, but yeah, she got depressed. And not only that, she was on medications that she'd been on for years. And so we went down this rabbit hole of just kind of hell over the next 10 years, which is to where we are now. You know what I mean? So it was 8 years ago, man, there was times when my wife was in and out of the hospital with bowel obstructions, and they're telling me that, you know, they're going to do procedures that she may or may not live. And dude, I was scared shitless because I'm just a kid. I got married. I was naive to her condition. Like I knew I loved her, but I didn't know what I was signing on for. And, you know, and I wouldn't change my opinion either way, but I would spend a lot of time in the hospital and scared, not knowing what was going to happen. And so through all that, you know, she got really depressed after her dad died, and I was working a lot of hours at the factory. I felt like I couldn't give her the support she needed. And for me, there was one defining moment. I came home one night, and she had my gun loaded up, man. And she was begging me to kill her. And, you know, I was in this position that night where I've literally thought to myself, like, my wife was in such a bad way that I thought maybe it would be the best thing. And so, you know, I obviously didn't go that route, but I immediately got rid of the guns in our house, you know.
Right,
and it wasn't until recently we brought guns back in our house. But, you know, we got rid of the guns. Yeah, no, man, it wasn't. And it was crazy and it was wild. It was a crazy time period. The first year of our marriage was fucking nuts, man. I don't think there was a window left in that house when we moved out, man. It was just nuts. Like, you know, she was on pain meds and Adderall at the time, right? Because like the doctors were just pill pushing. Yeah. And, you know, somebody might judge us on this, but, you know, if they do, they can suck a dick. I don't really care. But anyways, you know, they're pill pushing. So they're giving her downers while giving her uppers. And like, it's just, it's nightmare.
A horrible combination.
Yeah, it is. Then she went through the depression with her dad, and then she's trying to stay up with me because I worked second shift and she worked first shift. And that was about the time when everything started going crazy that I asked her, hey, go ahead and stay home. I'd like to see you more because I'm not getting to see you enough. You're having issues physically. Why don't you just take some time off, right? And so, I mean, it was just absolutely nuts. We went through crazy fights because of everything going on, the depression as well as the medications. Through that time period, I thought that, you know, when you're young and you're naive, and I saw that she was having troubles, with going through these issues with her pain meds and her Adderall. Like she would run through her Adderall in like 2 weeks, and I thought that I would help her out if I were just to go get a prescription, and then I would save my prescription. I'd hide it, and then when she needed one, I'd have it for her. Like I thought I was helping her, and in reality, I was just enabling her. Well, in
Yeah,
the
that
process, I started taking them
codependent.
too, and then I started taking them too, and then I fell into taking them. I didn't fall in like that, but I sure as hell enjoyed them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which only made it worse because we started fighting. You know, so
Yeah, I remember one of your
and then
videos you talked about like you and her would I can't remember what video it was. You were mowing like a huge property, like big leaf cleanup. You and her was talking about like she got sucked into these, not blaming it on her, but like these TV shows, the kids from Southside Chicago, and it was just like their attitudes would reflect onto her, and like your guys' relationship was not doing very well as you're trying to build this business. And and you said that you guys are both talking about this. She was watching these shows about these young kids from Southside Chicago, and it was just like so not
oh god,
healthy. You know what I'm
yeah.
talking about?
So that was shameless,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah, yeah.
like, and this happens because it doesn't matter what it is. You'll get influenced by the people you hang out with. So if you don't like the situation you're in, if you just listen to something different or quit hanging out with the type of people you're hanging out with or whatever, because you probably have some toxic friends if you're in the situation that I was in or you were in. If you just quit hanging out with them or change a few things, it's going to get better. But yeah, it's like she was watching Shameless for a while, and I was like, hey, we're fighting, and you brought up something that it's definitely an insecurity issue that I know I heard on that show. I was like, I want this to stop. And then she kept watching. Yeah, whatever. Well, a couple of days later, she came to terms, and I'm like, no, really, that was in that show, and she kind of thought so as well. But yeah, we ended up in Tulsa, and I was without a job and no insurance, and so I was scared of that. And then not even we moved down here in September, and in November my wife got pregnant. So, and I didn't think we could have kids, to be honest, man. We'd been trying for a while and didn't think it could happen. And yeah. So then that started that journey and the whole lawn care thing and making business work. And where I was going with all that is the ego. I didn't have a job when I started, but the ego of being involved in it already and not wanting to quit. I didn't want to admit failure. So I've always kind of pushed forward, and no matter how shitty it gets, I'll readjust and figure it out because I don't want to have failure under my belt. Now, if it came to that and I had to take a job, whatever, but now we're at the position where I think I have enough confidence and knowledge in business that we could make a basic living where we're at, but I would like to make a great living, which means I have to continue to evolve. Oh, by the way, I know you came off, you were talking about in a video with Acme, how you had kind of your past and you're clean now. My wife's clean as well. I don't take Adderall. My life's a lot better. I quit smoking in 2018. My life's a lot better there too. I can breathe. I did gain a lot of weight. I started drinking energy drinks last year like crazy. So I gained some weight, and I know that was from quitting smoking, man. But I mean, what's the trade-off? I'm gonna have weight for a year or two, and then I'll lose it. I mean,
That's what I
what's
was
worse?
telling. That's what I was in my last video too. Is like because I made a video after I did my episode with Acme and just kind of told my past of how I went in and out of drugs and all these different things. As like I told up last video, I was like you wouldn't have recognized me a year or two ago. Like you wouldn't have known who I was. Like I was I was a train wreck. Like not a good person. But like, and to tell you the truth, my ego, I didn't want the lawn care community to even know. And then
Yeah.
But then again, it's like if you got people who out there who could help you. There
What
we
up,
go.
man?
What's up, guys?
We thought you fell asleep on us.
No, man, I had
Dude,
to
I
go
told
put
you
some
his
clothes
mic sounds
on.
good.
Why you need clothes for?
I know. We were super late because it's been raining all weekend this weekend, and today was the first day we could get out and get it done. So we hadn't done a property since Thursday. So today we didn't get home till I think I was back in the trailer in around 8:30 or so.
Damn.
Yeah.
You're not far from us. I hope we get some of that rain.
Man, I hope you do, man. We got a ton of it. You didn't get none of this weekend?
No, man, we got like a sprinkle the other night.
God.
And yeah, it's really, really dry right now.
We probably got 5 inches, man. I'm not even lying. It was crazy. So what do you boys been up to? I heard the whole thing. It was really good, by the way. You have some great advice, man. What a great interview, Jesse. You're getting so good at it. I can't even believe it.
I did. That's why I called him. I said, "Hey, you want to do an impromptu?" Hearing a little bit of an echo. I said, "But I want to do an impromptu podcast with you." And he's like, "Yeah, cool. Let's do it."
I like these ones because I like to listen to them sometimes. Like I'll be editing and I'll put this in the background or something, so I don't see the comments or anything. But I really enjoy listening to them. But I do like coming in and seeing your faces too. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
I was gonna keep it just regular, just do a regular podcast, but like I haven't kept up with my podcast like I should. So I was like,
you got a business to run, baby. That podcast is a hobby right now.
exactly. So
You got to feed that baby.
Exactly. So I was like, well, I need to put a video out too. So it's like, kill 2 birds with 1 stone, bud.
There you go. You're relaxing and having a good time. That's why I really enjoy this kind of stuff, man. I don't know about you guys, but it keeps me motivated when I know that there's other guys like me out there going through the same bullshit that I'm going through.
Right. And just like one of my most important questions that I was asking Kevin there was like, well, you heard it, but it was man-hour rate. Like this, it's like almost scary. And
Yeah.
I hear Ray talk about it in his videos. I sit and listen to. I listen to a lot of what Ray says, a lot of what everybody else says. You do a minute per hour per man.
It's gotten a lot more complicated than that now, Jesse, since we did that one. But yeah, that used to be our rule of thumb, a minute, $1 a minute per man hour.
Yeah.
Or per man, right? But now it's based on the job and how difficult it is. So it may be $1.25 a minute or $2 a minute, depending what we're doing.
What do you think, Kevin?
Well, it's just like adjusting for the holidays. So, I mean, if you know you're going to do something you don't want to do, make sure you're getting paid well. Like when I do, anytime I move dirt or rocks, I'm getting paid more than I want to get paid.
How many times have you ever I do this a lot. I throw this outrageous bid out that I know that they won't take it because I really don't want to do it, and then they take the goddamn bid. But I'm happy, right? It's like, God, this is going to be a pain in the ass, but geez, it sure is paying well.
It sure is paying the bills. Exactly.
Oh, man. How many times have you done that, though? Have you ever done that, Jesse?
I get nervous and then I throw out really low numbers.
Dude,
wrong way.
I did that my first year. I was like, I didn't have any self-confidence, right?
And that's what I was talking to.
Man, let me tell you something about this Asian woman. She schooled me, bro.
Uh-oh.
She got me so cheap. I think I was paying her to cut her lawn.
Exactly.
Man, she was such a good negotiator, though. I walked away not knowing what the hell just happened.
It was that bad, huh?
Yeah. I cut her for that season, and then we dumped her the next year.
Yeah, I got a couple of them.
I don't remember.
I don't want to walk away. Go ahead, Ken.
I don't remember who I heard say it, but somebody told me a long time ago that just in Asian culture, like they feel like they haven't done their job with haggling until somebody's offended. So I don't know if that's all of them, but I mean, I've had that experience as well. So
I don't know. It is a major part of the culture, though.
I
You
don't
know,
know.
and that's
yeah,
man, and you know when it's hard to shake. Let's put it that way, because over there everything's bartered for. You don't really pay
yeah,
cash for anything. I mean, you can barter everything in the market. So, you know, you
yeah.
don't pay the asking price, is what I'm saying.
My grandfather's Japanese. He's probably the smartest guy I've ever met with money.
Yeah,
But yeah, very, very frugal.
yeah. Well, I mean, look what they've been through. You know,
Yeah,
not so long ago. We've already forgotten, but I don't think that they have
No,
all that stuff.
heck no. I've been reflecting on it the past couple of days, just getting out of Juneteenth and everything that's going on. I don't want to talk politics here, but me and him was talking
Oh,
backstage.
let's not. Oh,
Hey,
please, let's
you see
not.
what NASCAR did? I think it's great. I think it's a great thing, and that's all I'll say.
Look, man. You, I'm just so. I don't know. I'm. I don't see racism. I guess. You know, I don't see it like other.
Right.
Maybe I'm just not around it. I don't. I don't know. I don't know people. You know, I don't know anybody that talks to me like, "Look at that black dude." You know what I mean? Nobody. It just doesn't happen. So I can't. I can't relate to it.
Right, and that's what
You
I know.
know?
I understand, and I think NASCAR made a great move because this poor driver, dude. Like someone threw what took me off. And someone threw a noose in his car. Like I don't know anybody in my life. I grew up in rural
Dude.
areas. That's horrible. And in today's society, it makes me so mad.
You've been around a long time, dude. You know there's always a couple of those people. Always. I mean, it's unavoidable. You have to have two of them, at least, in a room.
It's horrible, dude.
There's always a couple, bro. And there's I don't think there's anything we'll ever be able to do anything about that. I mean, you know what I mean? There's always going to be that one holdout that's going to be, because we're never going to get the last racist or the last bigot. There's always going to be one left. You know what I mean?
Oh, dude, I definitely agree.
But we are doing, personally, I think we're doing a shitload better than we were 5 or 10 years ago.
Oh,
Even.
I'm with you. Did you guys?
And Juggernaut knows, if he's been in Tulsa for a while, the history of Tulsa.
yeah,
It's pretty severe, man. I mean,
yeah. They have Black Wall Street here and everything. So
Yeah.
it's got
I love that
really
story.
rich history here.
yes, Tulsa is very rich in history.
Did you guys get a chance to motor day?
Huh?
Did I do what?
Did you get a chance to motor day? Acme?
Oh, dude. Yeah, I got in late. I think I was stepping out of the shower at about 8:15.
Oh, so when you said you got home at 8:30, you just got out of the.
Well, we got home at about 8:30. I was stepping out about 8:45, I guess it was. But it was a late night. We got rained out this last weekend, so you know, it was only 5 properties, but our properties are pretty big, so it takes us a while.
You like doing all acreage?
I love it. Love it. I love doing it. I really do. Because we're getting into the whole outside maintenance, right? So everything's an upcharge though. So like, oh, you want the bushes included as well? Well, that's an upcharge, right? Oh, you want us to do this? Well, that's an upcharge, right? And then we'll put them on a schedule.
Right.
So,
didn't start
the
out
bushes,
with acreage.
if you want to get on our bush program, then it's, you know, we do it twice a season, once in spring and once in the fall, just to get it nice and tidy. And then you get that little bit of growth in the spring, you chop that off, and then you got that little bit of growth in the fall, and chop that off, and you're making money.
Yeah, because you used to do regular residential houses, little quarter-acre lot, didn't you?
Yeah, we did the little teeny lots. Most of our first year mows were push mows. We had that push mower, if you'll remember, and then we had that 21-inch X Mark, and then we bought the 36-inch Vantage when we realized, oh my God, dude, we've got way more business than we can push. We need to speed this up.
Right.
So we got that 36-inch Vantage, and then we had already had the Hustler, so we had that for our bigger places, which we didn't have too many of. But most of them were push. It was a tough year, man.
You still running that hustler then?
Man, that sucker, I love that thing, man. I can't say enough nice things about that Hustler Raptor SD. I'm telling you. You know, it's a residential machine,
I like
but
it.
it cuts beautifully. It really does. I'm very impressed with it, and it's running its ass off. I'm telling you, it's been a tank. I really like it.
Wow. Yeah. So what's the story with JT's old lady there? She did not. That's not her first time running a,
Yeah,
a Z-turn mower a couple weeks ago when you had her on video.
yeah, yeah. No, that you're right. That wasn't her first time.
When she jumped on there and was just like, I was
No,
like,
no. We'd already kind of taught her in the shop how to go back and forth, and yeah. No, oh no. But that was her first time mowing. That was her first time
she
mowing.
is a boss. Like she's taking over.
She's pretty tough, bro. You know, and I told my son, I said, you need to watch out. You're gonna be working for her. You know what I mean? Yeah, she's pretty impressive.
I like that. I like your guys' I like how you've been coming out with a random video, just like just music behind, just working. No, just real quick, easy little clip. I think you put 2 of them videos out. I like them, man. I like how you're doing.
Thanks, man. I really do that for myself mostly. So because those are songs that I sometimes I want to listen to during the week. And I'm like, and I'm just farting around listening to something in here, podcast or something. So I'll just throw it together and I'll say, hey man, I really want to hear that Frank Sinatra song more, you know, or somebody said, hey man, can you do Frank Sinatra? Sure, why not? Let's do it.
Yeah.
You know, I want to listen to that song, so I'll do a thing so I can listen to it.
I've been stealing a lot of your editing clips. Not editing, but like where you put your GoPro in random spots.
Yeah.
And like before.
No, you're not stealing nothing, dude. Good ideas are supposed to be shared, bro. You think I came up with that crap on my own?
Take credit.
I'm sure I saw it somewhere.
Yeah, but I stopped caring at that couple weeks. I ain't even done a thumbnail, and I've been getting the same views. So I'm like, if I don't have to worry about a thumbnail and a decent title and all this other stuff, my view count still the
See,
same.
I'm just not as fortunate as you.
Hey,
If I don't work on my thumbnail, I get like 3 views.
yeah, bro. Take over here, Kevin. I'll be right back.
Well, I mean, talking about thumbnails or editing, I hate thumbnails and I hate the titles, and I'll edit, but I'm starting to get. Well, Jesse said not to use the word burnout, but I'm burnt out on editing right now. It took everything I had to get this last one out.
It's the middle of the summer. It starts getting. It's when it starts getting hot. It really starts getting harder to spend that time in the evenings to put it together.
Yeah, well,
but you're still.
that,
How many are you still putting out? As many as? Are you still putting out as many videos as you used to?
I was putting out 2 a week for a while. I got on schedule doing that, and then the last couple of weeks I've slacked off.
I mean, that's.
But it's because I was looking at this monster one I did today.
All right, sorry. Does this sound any better because I had that disabled audio processing thing?
Yeah, that completely took out the echo.
Okay, great. I'm very sorry.
No, that sounds way better.
Okay.
Oh, you're good. Sounded like, you know, that scene in Forrest Gump where Forrest is talking at the Lincoln Memorial?
Yeah.
That's what it sounded like when Jesse was talking.
Oh, great. No wonder Jesse was looking at me like I was crazy. He can't hear a word I say anyway. Did you know that Jesse and I are sleeping together at GIA? He promised.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, ask him.
Yeah, you're gonna be the big spoon though, right?
I'm just joking. We have an Airbnb and Jesse is going to take one of the rooms, so it's going to be kind of cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
He crashed on the floor when we were up in Michigan, and that was cool because I got to meet him. You know, that's where I actually got to know him pretty well.
Yeah.
When you was a baby spoon.
No.
I don't know about that, dude.
One time and they turned it around on me.
I know it's hard to judge. I know it's hard to judge on video, but I'm pretty sure he's not the baby spoon, Jesse.
Well, Adam jumped in.
He's got a far superior beard to yours.
I haven't even shaved in months. Look at that. That's horrible. I can't.
You got a cat, don't you?
Yeah, it's horrible. And then I just give Deputy, if I don't keep it cleaned up, Deputy Cruz or someone with smart mouth will just be after me. So it's like, I always got to be on my toes because I can't grow a beard and it's just bad.
Hell yeah. Jason and Christina been on that diet, dude.
Dude, they're
All
looking
meat,
good. Yeah.
all meat diet. I'd really be interested in hearing more about that, I think.
I think Joe Rogan, I think, does that as well. Maybe not Joe Rogan. One of them guys did just nothing but meat. That's it.
Mm.
Yeah, Jordan Peterson does.
That's it.
I
Not Joe
know Jay's
Rogan.
Jay's a Jordan Peterson fan.
Yeah,
That guy's a good guy to listen to. If you make it all the way through his book, it's impressive.
I
had to quit
to it
listening to that at like chapter 11 or something. I was like, it was too intense for me at the time.
when he's talking about Lunchbox, his buddy, that when he's talking about that kid from school.
No, I'm talking about his 12 rules for life.
Right. He was talking about, remember that kid Lunchbox or something in the book. Yeah, that kid. And dude, I cried in that when I cried in that book because like the dude he was talking about that just had a natural bad odor and was just bad luck, just a bad dude. His buddy that ended up dying from drugs and stuff. Because I'm like, this is my cousin Kyle. I felt so bad, dude. It was one of them things.
Mm.
You sound
Hey guys,
a lot better, Ben.
Yeah,
I'll be right back real fast.
I'm sure sorry. You should tell me earlier. I always forget to uncheck that disable audio processing.
Oh.
Because I do some editing with this sometimes, and that helps with the. I don't know.
It was like a weird, almost like an echo, but I was like, oh well, I'll power through it.
It's all gone now, right?
Yeah, it's really crystal clear. So
all right,
really good.
Yeah, great.
Oh.
I love your stuff too, Jays. Why are you struggling putting out videos? Just because you got so much work to do? I hope that's the case.
Oh.
I really like those two people, man. You know what I mean? I met them. In fact, Christina kind of scared me because
with the
I think it was around the X mark area. I'm just like walking around, right? And I hear this like, ee! And I look around and here comes this girl. I think she had pigtails that day. Pretty sure she did. And I think she was wearing a cap or something. I'm like, what the hell? And I didn't know immediately who she was. But when we stepped back, then I was like, holy crap. It was like, it was like being out in public and running into like some movie star for me. I was like, wow, this is really cool. I watch you on YouTube. That's incredible.
That's awesome.
And yeah, it was great, man. And then I saw Happy's family, and that was cool. And we ran into Brian and Liz. I actually interrupted him when he was doing I can't even believe the guy talks to me anymore because him and Liz were doing this blah, 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 blah at the X mark thing. And I walk up behind him. I'm like, making faces and stuff, I don't know. It's just goofing,
Right.
And he turns around and is like, get out my video. Yeah, he's like, what? And I was like, you're Brian from Brian's Lawn Maintenance. And you know what he said to me, Jesse?
If I said, you're Ben from Acme Mowing.
That's exactly what he said to me, Jesse. I couldn't believe it. Hey, guy had like, back then, this guy had like 10,000 or something, 12,000 subscribers. I was like, wow, how does he know me?
Right.
Right.
Hey, I'm telling you, everybody might be on his case right now, but I really like Brian personally. Me and Kevin both met him. We had dinner with him.
He's a wonderful person, man. I've talked to Brian for hours.
Yeah, I had him on the podcast and stuff, but like when we sat down, like he will remember like a room full of 200 people that he just met. He remembered everybody's name.
The funny thing is, Jesse, people think Brian's acting. They think that he's putting on a show because he's pretty wholesome. He's not that wholesome, right? Outside the show, we know that.
Right.
But god dang, for his audience, he's doing it great. And he's doing it perfect because if I had kids, I would let them watch Brian's channel without question.
Right.
There's never anything that I would be concerned about on that channel.
My little my nephew, I get in trouble for that one, but my little nephew, Alex, is really into like chainsaw. So like I turned him on to Buck and Billy Ray Smith. I don't know if anybody watches his channel. Great channel, very godly guy, but it's more aimed at us. But like I was like, this guy cuts trees, does a good job. He likes big trucks, you know. So I turned him on.
Yeah, those kids love that. They love lawnmowers and edgers and
and I showed him,
blowers.
and
I've
I was
been
like,
called Ghostbuster many times by young little kids. Right? 'Cause I got my backpack blower on.
Exactly. I showed him Brian, and I showed him TQ, and then because he's 8 years old. All right, like he knows I have a YouTube channel, so we tried to make a video with him in it. We were doing the Macarena, but
heck yeah, you were.
I just messed up it got all messed up. But still, I want he just for him to know that like his uncle has a YouTube channel, and I was like, I know these guys, and it was like so cool that like I knew Brian. I mean, I don't know him like that, but like still, it's just. He loved it. He's 8. He's 8 years old.
They may be saying that about you in 5. That was Jesse from Black Fork Lawn, man. You believe that? That dude's got a fleet of 100 trucks.
Right.
Incredible.
If the Juggernaut had someone stop him and say, "Hey, are you Kevin from?" Or what they say? You're the Juggernaut, ain't you? That when you were mowing?
Yeah, man. Yeah, that was pretty cool. So I've been recognized a couple times now, but yeah, he stopped and you're the Juggernaut, right?
That's a funny story.
Really cool.
That's a funny story because I was at OnCue the other day and I was pumping gas and the guy came up and he goes, "I know you. You're Juggernaut. You're the Juggernaut, man."
What?
And I was like, "Yeah, that's who I am, man.
That's
exactly who I am." What are you doing down in Oklahoma City, man?
You owe me money.
Dude, no way.
I didn't know money, man, because he was pretty sketchy.
Dude, you were talking about Christine. When Jay and Christine came up to me at the GIE, I kind of had the same interaction. She had the bat and she wanted me to sign. She said, "You're the Juggernaut," or whatever. But just her reaction, I was like, "Oh, that was really cool."
You instantly
it was cool to be recognized because
the thing about her is you instantly like her. The minute she starts talking to you, you're like, "Man, I like this chick a lot," right?
Yeah,
she's cool. She's a cool chick,
really
right?
Just like
it instantly.
Yeah,
it was cool. Like they make you feel really welcomed right away. So yeah, they're pretty cool. I like them a lot.
Me too. I think they're great.
Did they do the giveaway on their bat yet? Do you guys know?
I haven't heard nothing.
Man, I know. I think they did it was pretty complicated for me. I was so busy, I wasn't able to really concentrate on too much stuff that was technical. And I'm like, I really would like to do that bat, but this seems like a lot of work. So gonna have to.
Well, I went and commented on the video, so
that's a great idea there. So
I think that was on the gas can though. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That was cool. When it got to Novi, when I finally met up with Kevin and he was on the phone with someone. He's like, guess who I'm on the phone with? I don't know. I barely know you from the internet. How am I gonna know who you're on the phone with?
Yeah.
And he was talking to Greg Chisholm. We were talking about him earlier. He was talking and he's like, "Don't be scared." And I was like, I've been trying to message this guy my whole life. Now I just talked to him on the phone. How does this work?
That's really cool.
I'm so happy that he's got a YouTube channel again, though. Like, it's great, man.
Yeah. Yep. I'm really looking forward to seeing some of his more heady when he starts talking about stuff. You know what I mean?
I really want to see where he talks about life.
That's what I'm looking forward to. I want to see where his head's at because that was quite a bit that he went through.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to. Yeah, that's the only thing that kind of makes me lightweight, not want to share too much on YouTube. But then again, it's like, you can't let everybody win either. But I'm glad to see. Him coming back.
Yeah, just have access to a good lawyer. You can nip all that crap right in the bud, and it's very cheap.
Oh, I'm sure.
Dude, he told me when I started my channel, he said, "Don't show your phone number, don't show your street or what your house looks like." And don't show your the addresses or anything on your client's properties. And I'm like,
I'm screwed.
Well, I was like, oh,
too late.
I think I went too far. So,
too late, man.
Pretty much everything about me that could be said, I've said it before. I've said it somewhere. And, you know, at some point in time, if somebody digs something up about me and they want an apology, I'm just going to say, hey, look, at different stages of my life, I was an asshole, and that is what it is. And I've come a long way. So
Dude, I'll give them an apology if they, you know, if they want one, I'll give them one. It doesn't hurt me to apologize again, even if I've done it before.
Right. I agree. That's why
No
it was a
skin
good
off
thing.
my nose. I'll apologize again. I already did it once and I meant it back then. Why wouldn't I do it again? Sure, I'll apologize to you. You want me to apologize to you again tomorrow? I'll do it again tomorrow.
Well, that's another good thing that I wanted to get out. It was able to do it on your podcast about getting out in front of my drug past, because just in case anything did happen, if my YouTube started to like click and I had some people who didn't like me, that would almost be detrimental if I didn't already get out ahead of it and be like, hey, this is who I used to be. This is what I used to do.
Well, yeah, I guess you could look at it that way. But I think that attitudes are changing about that, right? I think everybody knows an alcoholic in their family or somebody who's had a drug problem in their family. So I think we're all kind of, especially after this oxycodone craziness.
Dude,
right?
Everybody's been touched by addiction of some kind.
The opioid epidemic, and it is an epidemic. It's crazy. So I think that it may have been pretty rare before then that maybe people in my area would know somebody that was a drug addict, but now everybody knows one, right? Everybody knows a recovering oxycodone head or whatever you call them, right? We all know.
Even worse than that, you know, I don't know about how Oklahoma City is. I'm sure it's about the same as Tulsa, but, you know, just since the issue with pills and people having a hard time getting a hold of those pills, now there's a huge surge of heroin in our area.
Yeah, heroin is an issue in Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
They smoke it.
I know it's real bad here.
They smoke it mostly. You know, among other things, but that's the common use here. I don't know what that, I don't know. It's an insidious drug.
Yep.
I cleaned out a garage today for some extra money, and it was like just full of like mattresses. What are you doing? Mattresses and syringes. It was horrible. What
are you doing?
I'm helping. He's helping, Dad.
He's helping, yeah. Yeah,
So are you doing that for like a job for your business?
What's that?
That cleanup he said, were you doing that for your business, man?
Yeah, I was clean. I just do like the side projects, you know what I mean? So like I'll clean out a junk garage or pressure wash, staining, something like that. Quick $300.
But it had syringes and stuff in it.
Oh, dude, it was like there was two mattresses on the floor, a bunch of nasty syringes. It was horrible.
Oh man,
dude, I'm such a germaphobe when it comes to biohazard stuff. Like horrible. I won't even pick up tissue paper, man. I'm like, nope.
I won't either. I'll mow around it.
Yeah.
If I don't have my grabber with me, there's going to be a little like patch of grass right there.
I'll take 2 passes over it and it'll be gone.
Oh, okay. You shred it. I didn't see it. Sorry about that.
No. I mean, you know, if they don't want to pick up the trash on their lawn, I don't want to pick it up either. Now, you know, if it's a lawn and they got a nice lawn, I'll pick up the trash. But anything biohazard stuff, if they got a needle, I'll call them up and be like, hey, you got a needle over here on your driveway. You need to pick that up.
Yeah.
But you know, I know somebody would say, well, you need to pick that up. You need to have gloves or something. But I don't want to do anything with it, man.
Man, that doesn't sound like it's in our job description to do that.
No, I'm not a medical professional. I used to have a bunch of rental properties that I mowed in my first couple of years.
Yeah.
And I would go pick up the trash every time. And I actually have video of it from like way back when, where I was picking up the yard and there's like this bong and stuff back there. Like I'm not afraid of picking that up, but I picked it up and I actually put it in my truck and I went, oh, don't do that, you know. And I went and threw it in the trash can. But yeah, I'd have to pick up trash there all the time.
Yeah.
And one time I was just over it and I went there and I shredded the trash because they'd leave like 2 or 3 bags of trash in the backyard.
Oh my
And I
god.
just shredded it with the mower
Yeah.
and dipped out, mowed it, was gone. I wasn't getting paid extra for it. You know what happened next week?
Huh.
No trash in the yard.
There you go. They learned their
Yeah,
lesson.
so
They probably their landlord probably got on them.
yeah, yeah.
I'm with you, deputy. I'm not doing that either. Although I haven't seen any needles or diapers. But I'm not picking up some other stuff too, like he said, tissues and
I would mow around a diaper. I don't think I'd shred that up.
no, that you have to scrape your deck later.
Oh no, gosh.
I haven't had to scrape my deck all year, man. We haven't.
Oh,
It's been pretty dry. So I think we scraped it once or twice.
It's been dry as hell down here. I couldn't believe how early the drought came this year. You know what I mean, Kevin?
Yeah.
It came super
Well,
early.
last year it was so wet, and then this year I was expecting some rain.
It's
we
dry
haven't
here.
really had a drought since I've started up.
A lot of our yards started going back into dormancy and turning brown. And but this weekend, man, we got hammered, dude. We got hammered.
Yeah, I hope we get some our way.
I hope you
I just
do.
need to pick up more crabgrass lawns, man. Crabgrass always grows.
Yeah. Well, you have to go out there and mow it. All those weeds sticking up there, like 8 weeds. It makes the whole lawn look like shit. So they don't mind that you go out there and take care of those, right? You still get paid the same. I was mowing today, and I was like, even though it rained all weekend, it's like, man, where's my tire track? That's how dry it still is, even after all weekend of rain. So it's like,
yeah,
you can't
it's really
even.
dry here, man. It's super.
Well, I hope you guys get rain.
Yeah, well, that's it. It's starting to come now. It's supposed to be pretty wet all week. So really looking forward to that.
well, normally around here we're pretty dry in July and August. So if we don't get it in the next couple of weeks, it's going to dry up. So we're about to start pushing painting like crazy, and with the anticipation that everything's going to kind of close up until fall.
Yeah.
So we'll keep mowing, but I mean, if they go from weekly to bi-weekly, it is what it is. That'd be the first time we've had to kind of do that in our business. Every year so far, we've just gotten a ton of rain.
Man, I'm telling you, if we didn't get it this last weekend, all my weeklies would have gone back to bi-weeklies this week.
And this MacBook's about to I'm about to lose my MacBook, guys. So I'm gonna go ahead and end the broadcast. Ben, if you want to go live, I'll jump up there. But
no, man, I need to go to bed. I shouldn't be up this late anyway. I got a big day tomorrow.
I know the feeling. I appreciate all you guys. Love y'all. Kevin.
See you, Jesse.
Ben. Love you. Bye.
Later, guys.
There we go.